So this is a good one. Ilia Topuria has now called out Charles Oliveira. He wants to make a move to lightweight, and he wants to challenge the number one contender. I mean it. I've always meant it when I said that Ilia is the Spanish Conor McGregor. He's got it all. He's got the grappling, he's got the striking, he's got the power, he's got the country fan base, he's got the stage presence, he's got it all. And he's got a good sense of I don't know what the word is, but he's got a good eye for next opponents. He knows what to do next to get him in the next best space. And he's challenged Charles Oliveira for a fight at lightweight. He's already done with featherweight. And I applaud him for it. I really do. Despite all of it, I do think he'll likely fight Volk next, but maybe he really meant like after the Volk fight. But, you know, he also said some other stuff that I'll get into in another video, but I'll stay on the topic of Ilia's move to lightweight and Ilia challenging Charles Oliveira, because he originally talked about a fight with Islam, but he likely realizes that Dana will probably not give him, straight away a fight against the lightweight champion. But fighting the number one lightweight contender is a very smart next best move, because after beating Charles, you are obviously and unquestionably up next to fight Islam. Now, as a Charles Oliveira fan, this is a nightmare, and I'm sure a lot of Charles Oliveira fans, which, let's face it, is probably most of the MMA fan base and UFC fan base, they're all having nightmares. This is nightmare fuel for Charles Oliveira fans, because Ilia has a reputation now for knocking out fan favorites. And next up appears to be Charles. And yes, I do predict, or I would predict if this fight was to be made, I would predict an Ilia Topuria blockbuster, arena-shaking knockout against Charles Oliveira. It's sad to say, I am a Charles fan, like I am a Volk fan, and like I am a Max Holloway fan. And it will hurt to see Charles Oliveira get his lights put out. We've seen Charles get dropped before. This will be a lot worse, because we're talking about Ilia Topuria, the man who cracked Max Holloway's chin. And he's called out Charles. And look, like I said, this is nightmare fuel, but it's also extremely exciting, because while I can never be a fan of Ilia because of how he did Volk, I am still an admirer of Ilia. I admire his run. I admire, like I said, his skill set, his well-roundedness, his fan base, all of it. He's the Spanish Conor McGregor. We're watching it in real time. Conor McGregor 2.0 has arrived, and he's been in the UFC for a while now, and he's already looking at a move to another division, which I think is earned. I think Ilia's earned a move to lightweight and a shot at lightweight's number one contender. He's earned it. He knocked out Volk, and he moved on and knocked out Max. Nobody does that. He's earned a move to lightweight. I said myself in a couple videos ago, I don't know who's next at featherweight. I don't think any featherweight right now has a good chance against Ilia. So I would agree with Ilia that there's nothing really left for him at featherweight. I know a lot of people will say, yes, but he has to earn his right. He's got to defend the belt at least a couple more times. I get it, but who he defended his belt against, Max blessed Holloway, I think that just says it all. I think fighting and beating Max in that fashion is like beating a handful of good featherweights. Because that's what Max Holloway is to me, at least. I don't know what he means to you, but to me, Max Holloway, the skill set he's got, the people he's beaten, his record, his legacy. I think that equals a handful of featherweights, and good featherweights at that. Um, and for Ilya to do him like that, it just warrants a move to lightweight. I want to see how far the Ilya Taporia train can go. I want to see if Ilya's power can translate over to lightweight, and I definitely want to see if Ilya has enough to be the first one to beat Islam in like a decade. Because I think Islam's only lost once. So to be the second guy to put Islam out, after all these years, Islam, the guy who currently owns the lightweight division, who's beaten Volk twice, submitted Charles, beat Dustin Poirier, about to beat Arman Sakarian, the guy who's got Khabib in his corner. It would be huge if Ilya were to beat him. I'm not saying he will, because I did predict a Islam Makhachev win for that fight, but still huge. But yeah, and there's more things about Ilya that I will get on, and I'll get onto in a later video. But I want to end this video with a prediction and a breakdown of Ilya versus Charles, in the spirit that hopefully this fight is made and the UFC obliges to letting Ilya move up and challenge the #1 contender. Like I said, I think Ilya will knock Charles out. Charles does have the grappling threat, but so does Ilya. Ilya's grappling is really good, and he started out as a grappler. Grappling is his base, and that's crazy to say considering Ilya's clean and smart boxing, and above all, his terrifying power. So if you take away that grappling threat, Charles does have good striking, but in a lot of Charles's fights, like Max's fights, he does take punches. He does get hit. Even when he fought Chandler just recently, he got tagged by Chandler. He nearly lost the damn fight during a Chandler blitz. Chandler was fucking blitzing forward, throwing heavy shots at Charles, and almost made Charles quit or get knocked out. Imagine Ilya does that same thing. Ilya does not need fucking 5 punches. He needs 3. He needs 3 good clean ones. And he will put Charles Oliveira out. And it will be devastating to watch, but it is purely factual, given the man that Ilya Taporia is. This is exciting. This is fun, and it's only another testament to the legend that Ilya Taporia is becoming. Because Ilya is not only strong, he's not only powerful, he's not only technically sound with boxing, or technically excellent. He's got foresight. He's got the foresight. But let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and most importantly, subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you all on the next.